Here we go.
Here we go. I think this is doing something. So I think we've got 45 minutes. Shouldn't take that long.
Yeah, I got to give my consent here. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We're all good. Is that working?
Yeah.
I think so. Perfect.
I think so. Yeah, it's got recording in the top left-hand corner, so it's. I think.
Mate, Flaz, I've made notes and everything, mate.
You have.
I've made notes.
You really have. It's all about preparation, mate.
You wait. But if we start from the beginning, like you were at Saints, weren't you? Was it YTS back then?
Yeah, it's called a YTS. Obviously, back then, long time ago. Yeah. So I went from school straight to Southampton. It was a Dell back then. So 16 years old, straight into football.
Yeah. And how do you find that? Like, because it's completely different now, isn't it? Do you think kids now sort of have it? They have it easy, don't they? In terms of it was Saints to the Prem team. Do you think that would have molded you, like the way they? Because I guess first team boys would have been pretty brutal and pretty.
Yeah, I think it gives you that. I think you get a better grounding. Obviously, back when I was starting. I mean, we obviously with everything now, where you've got to be very careful on what you do and what you say. Back then, like, it was
very politically correct now, isn't it?
Yeah. Back then, it was no holds barred. If we had to do jobs, we had to clean toilets, we had to clean showers, we had to clean boots. We had to clean literally everything. We would, we'd have drill sergeant type coaches in our face, pinning you up against walls. You'd be, if you lost games, you would run. You would be punished.
Even keepers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was pretty, but. Do you know what? We had about 8 YTS when I first started, and I think 3 or 4 quit.
Really? Or just couldn't hack it?
Couldn't hack it, yeah. Couldn't really do it. A few lads went back home. It was a couple of lads from Wales. They went back home. Another lad from Northern Ireland went home. It was a tough environment. I mean, it was probably more difficult for them because, they're coming from Wales and when it was a bit further away. I was a local lad, so it wasn't.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I never really considered it. I actually enjoyed it. That side of me. That's why it probably helps me being a goalkeeper, because we're all a few trees short of a forest anyway. So I actually enjoyed it, and I quite like that.
Yeah.
Tough love and that.
Yeah, no,
that sort of having a bit of hardship to achieve something. I didn't, I think now you've got to get the balance right in a way, because I think now you probably find that the players are probably more technically, probably tactically, physically as well, probably better than what we were, because of obviously the money and the infrastructure now at football clubs. But it's sometimes about having a bit of grit and determination, and which I believe is lacking a little bit.
But I think I've been out of the game obviously for I have, but that sort of stuff will ground you, won't it? And then there was no social media, because I feel like some people just all about the Instagram and how many likes they're getting, not prepared to go out and just stuff like that. It's just a game's changed, isn't it?
I think that's something you learn. I mean, especially now going into like the coaching, you have your own views, and obviously you can be stuck in your ways slightly, but you have to evolve with the generations to understand them. The best thing about getting the best out of players is obviously understanding them and understanding what makes them tick. And of course, we sit there and after a game, the first thing they will do is get on their phones and do that. And sometimes you bite your tongue a little bit, because back in my day, if I got a phone out 10 minutes after a game in the changing room, it would get picked out my hands and thrown against the wall. And now it's something that you have to sort of accept. You see, a lot of the times the players or especially the goalkeepers that I've worked with, I follow them on Instagram. I see things that they do, and then sometimes I'm a bit like,
and
you can have a little.
It's an away game, isn't it? thank you for the fans and all that.
But you have to understand it's that to be a good coach, one of the best skills is understanding people and knowing.
Yeah, I get that.
And now, you know, you're in a generation where it has changed. There is social media, where there are other like distractions, and it's about trying to mold them and navigate them through that, but also trying to keep your values and installing that as well.
So who was the first team keepers there? Were you there when Grobbelaar was there?
Yeah. So when I first went in there, would have been 1995.
Okay. Was he coming to the end of his career, or was he sort of?
Well, when I went in originally, it was Tim Flowers had just left.
Yeah.
And it was Dave Besant, and they brought Bruce Grobbelaar in because my first year, the first team manager was Alan Ball.
Okay.
And then in my second season, it was literally, again, it's pretty similar to like it is now, like we were just talking about. It was a revolving door. I had a different manager every season. So I had Alan Ball, Dave Besant was the goalkeeper. Second season, no, actually, Bruce did come in under Alan Ball. So we had Dave Besant, Bruce Grobbelaar, both of them 35, 36. You know, it's funny now. The contrast now.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Now it was, but that's what it was like back then. It was squads were fairly old and experienced, and that's what managers went for back then. They didn't really go for youth. You know, you were playing in the reserves probably till you're like 25, 26.
Really?
A lot of players were. So yeah, the two goalkeepers were 36. The second season, who come in the second season? Paul Jones.
Yeah, okay, the Welsh guy. He was there for years, wasn't he?
Mike Taylor come in. Chris Woods. Remember Chris Woods, the old
I remember. Yeah. Was Mossy there when you were there then?
Mossy came in. Yeah. Mossy was a few years older than me. He came in. I think in my second year or my first year as a pro. So yeah, there was a few that came and went, and
I think I remember you. I remember you telling me a story about Grobbelaar. I could be wrong. I've got my wires crossed here. You broke your arm, I think you said, and I think you said that he was like, I used to train with a broken arm or something like that. I'm sure he was.
Yeah. He was. We played on I had to play a youth team game on a Saturday. The first team were playing on a Monday night, I think it was, and then in the game, I've come for a really sort of flat cross with pace. So as I couldn't catch it, so I had to punch. And as I've gone to punch, I've literally punched the guy's head at the same time. It was a real awkward ball in the into the 6-yard box, and I punched him, and I ended up punching him in the side of the head anyway. Long story short, I obviously felt my hand was a bit sore, and I had it x-rayed, and I broke my hand. Yeah, my hand was literally put in a cast, and then the next day I had to go in with the first team. And Bruce literally saw me, and I couldn't believe I wasn't training. He said, "What's the matter? What are you doing, Flaps?" I said, "I can't train, Bruce. I broke my hand." And he's like, a few profanities came out, but he's like, when I was in South Africa, I broke my arm, and I still played on. And going on about how, again, the words he was saying, but how weak he thought I was, that I couldn't.
As a young kid,
as
a young kid, this guy's won the Champions League. You'd be like,
yeah. I thought it was banter, but he kept his face pretty straight and was he wasn't too happy that I had my hand in the cast and that I couldn't train on the Sunday. Maybe he was 36, 37. He was hoping that I would share the load with him in training, and he might have had a couple of glasses of wine on the Saturday night. But what a character he was, and what a career he had.
So, did you get a pro at Saints, or did you get released after the youth team? How did it work out?
No, I had a pro at Southampton. So I signed 2 years.
Okay.
And then I signed 2 years as a pro. And then I got let go after my second season. Again, it was difficult because every year I had another another manager come in. So every year you were just trying to prove yourself again.
To someone else. And
yeah, then I remember last year a guy called Dave Jones come in as manager.
Yeah, was he at Cardiff? Did he end up at Cardiff or someone like that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. He came in pretty straight away. I was never the biggest goalkeeper. I honestly thought I was the best, but I wasn't the biggest.
Yeah.
So straight away he was pretty dismissive, and what probably annoyed me about him was the fact is that he never really gave me too much of a chance.
Just because your height, just because of the
very high, not really looking at any sort of parameters of goalkeeping. It was size. But again, that's what it was back then. It was very much big and experienced, and not really a lot else. So I sat on the bench in the Premier League a few times, even under him. The season before that, I was on the bench in the Premier League for four or five times, I think it was. I can't remember. And I also got picked to play in the Republic of Ireland under 21s.
A bit of Irish in you, yeah.
Well, yeah. Literally got a message through from the club. The club asked me, and I said, on my dad's side, there is Irish.
Yeah.
And then I got a letter through a couple of weeks later saying I've been picked to play for the Republic of Ireland, but I didn't. Under Graham Souness at the time said to me, well, if you're on the bench for me next season in the Premier League at 18, 19, why can't you play for England? And I was like, well, I don't know. And he said, well, I'm Scottish, I wouldn't. I was like, no, fair enough. So I thought going under Graham Souness, I was going to have
We've sold him a couple of cars. He's quite a posing figure, isn't he? Like quite intimidating. I didn't really speak to him, but
he's a good guy. I like him. I enjoyed.
Straight down the line, seemed all right actually. From what the lads were saying that dealt with him.
Yeah, shame he left the club when he did. But
the way it goes, isn't it? It's brutal. Like what other job, like in the real world, where people just come and go, like managers come and go, and then you've got to start again and start rebuilding.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Like you say, now it's a bit different because youth is very much looked at now. With a lot of clubs, especially with resale value, longevity, recovery, that sort of thing. So young players are obviously at the forefront of recruitment process at clubs and in managers and coaches. So it has gone full circle now. You're looking at it now. It's a lot of clubs are having recruitment policies where they won't look at players under 28 years old. And so to go back when I first started in the Premier League, I don't think there was a player under 28 years old in the team. I think probably the youngest players were 28, 29. So that's how it was sort of back then. So that just goes to show how difficult it was to break in to the first team in those days, because that was sort of the DNA, the criteria that these that the coaches and the managers at the time used to look for.
So from there, you went to Woking.
Yeah.
Was it Woking, yeah? Did you go as number one? Yeah. Or did you go?
Yeah, well, we played. It just so happened when we were at Southampton, we played Woking, and it was a mixture of first team and reserves.
Okay.
We played Woking first team on a I think it was like a Friday night, and I played in the game. I played 45 minutes in the game, and I think the manager just remembered me and my performance.
Who was the manager?
It was a guy. Well, it was a guy called John McGovern. Won the European Cup at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, okay, rings a bell.
So yeah, he was the manager, and after my release from Southampton, again, it was really difficult because you don't have the network again like you do now, and you basically. From Southampton, again, it was disappointing as a young lad. I got let go and got basically the door closed, and no one would really help you. It was basically.
It's hard, isn't it? Like, people don't realise.
We'll help you, and we'll do this, we'll do that. And then as soon as you're out of sight, you're out of mind, and no one picks the phone up to you, and it's very difficult. You're sort of left there on your own. I had interest from Notts County, actually. It was Sam Allardyce to go there as a second choice, which was appealing, but it went a bit flat. And as you can see, as a 21-year-old goalkeeper at the time, with not a lot of experience, it was difficult. So the Woking offer come up to me at the time, and it was, logistically was only 50 sort of minutes away.
Yeah.
And at the time,
was that conference?
Obviously, National League, as it's known as today. And the manager wanted me to play. I went in, and there was a goalkeeper there called Lawrence Batt. He was very well regarded there. I think he'd been there for years and had won the trophy of the FA Trophy, I think it was there, and been there a long time. So it was a good challenge, because I went into the club and thought I could play, and knew I had the ability to play as a number one, and I did. And then the manager left, and then again I had some adversity again. And then as the manager left, they put one of the older players in charge and took a sort of new manager out. And I thought myself a little bit of the old pals act. He left me out and put the other goalkeeper back in that he had played with for 8 to 10 years. So that was frustrating. And then you start wondering what's going on with my life here. I'm gone from a Premier League football club to a National League club
within the space of 12 months or something.
Now I'm sitting on the bench. Well, I wasn't even sitting on the bench there. Sort of thinking what's going on at the time. Luckily enough, I was able to keep my fitness up, because I was training with Portsmouth. My late brother Aaron played for Portsmouth.
Yeah.
And back then they only had 2 goalkeepers at the club. So I went in at Portsmouth and trained with their reserves every day, as well as training twice a week with Woking. So it kept me sharp. So when the new manager came in, Brian McDermott, the Reading
manager, Reading one,
when Brian come in, he straight away wanted to put me back into the team. I went back into the team, and then I went on and played there for, I think, about 30 or 40 games. And it was great, because it exposes you to men's football. Exposed me to a crowd. Woking then, I mean, we would play teams like Aldershot and get 4,000 or 5,000 fans.
Because that's a derby, isn't it?
You go up the road, you go Yeovil, you had different sort of sides, but a lot of the teams then in the conferences, it was called then National League, now all full of experienced players. So you're still playing against players that you've obviously seen over the years playing in the Premier League. They would go and play that one last payday at 35, 36 in the conference. You're playing against some good players.
Do you feel now that clubs at, say, League Two sort of conference level will always, from a budget point of view, opt for, say, a young kid on loan from like a Championship or Prem team, rather than go with someone that's been released? Do you know what I mean? From a budget point of view, if they're not got to pay the wages, but if you've got someone,
I think. I mean, I did a column in the Football League paper a few years ago. I think I was at Bournemouth at the time, and I just thought it was getting to that point in, especially League One, League Two, even, the clubs were doing it, and they didn't really respect the position a lot. And I said personally, I feel that every club should have their own goalkeeper on contract. Because it was local clubs not even having a goalkeeper on contract. They would use the loans market, which is fair enough. I mean, I've been on that side of it now and can see that it's beneficial for my younger goalkeepers to go out on loan. So I get that, but at the time it was frustrating where, instead of paying you a goalkeeper X amount a week, they would rather not pay that and go to a Prem club and get a kid and not pay anything, because the Premier League club now, they don't need the money.
That can go both ways, can't it? Because some kids at Prem clubs, you're like, they're decent. There's others that I've seen that are like, how are you where you are? Like, it really can go both ways, can't it? It's whether you pick up someone.
It's all about opinion sometimes. It might just be something that you like. Again, a lot of it is it could be anything. How aesthetically they look in the goal, do they look physically a good specimen in the goal? That might tick the box. is their distribution outstanding? That might tick the box.
Yeah, it's what they're looking for, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah, cross it comes in the box, they come and catch. They might be like, well, that's what I'm looking for. And
yeah,
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you do sometimes get some good experienced goalkeepers out there that can't get a club and can't find work. And
that's when people take advantage, like money-wise and stuff. If someone's desperate and they offer them a couple $100, I don't know, whatever it is, shit money.
Well,
it's I don't think people outside of football kind of understand the pressure of, like, if you get offered a 3-month, a 6-month contract or a year contract, you always your mind's on that, isn't it? Sort of. But I'm out of work in the summer. Then what happens? It's just
it's like that. You look at it. Yeah, you look at it. You look at it like, again, we're a minority and a majority goalkeepers. Now we would all say that our position is the most difficult and the most important position on the pitch. Now, when you're voicing that opinion, 4 or 5 coaches that are all outfield players, they don't want to hear that. They think strikers are important. So why would they want to go and spend $2,000 on a goalkeeper?
Yeah, exactly.
When they their budgets, and then instead they can use that $2,000 to put towards a striker and pay a striker £4,000 or £5,000 a week, or
exactly.
10,000, 20,000.
Yeah, I know. It's short-sighted, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a bit like, we're not too fussed. But some do. Some really value the position and know how important it is. But there's a lot out there that don't. Either they don't respect the position but they do when they start shipping goals.
I was about to say, and I think
then they understand that it's a important position on the pitch to get right.
Yeah, definitely. So from Woking, did you get a move to Southend, or how did that work out? Because that's where you made your name, wasn't it?
Yeah, that materialised through. I got offered a new contract at Woking. It was running out, but I wanted to obviously play in the Football League. I felt I was good enough. And
were they League Two, Southend? League Two.
Yeah, I was only 20. I was 21 at the time, and then literally, I had a call. I had a friend that played at Yeovil in the National League at the time as well.
Yeah.
But Yeovil were sort of pushing to go up. Like, I think they come. Like,
what a shithole that is, by the way.
Yeah. It's a bit remote, isn't it, down there?
Yeah, it's like a graveyard.
It looked all right. I went down there.
Yeah.
When I was out of contract, and there was the manager was David Webb, the old Chelsea. And Brentford manager and Southend manager, obviously. He was the manager at the time. I did one training session. Literally afterwards, he pulled me in and he just said, "I'll just go home and I'll get in contact with you." I was like, "Okay, right." I thought, "Oh, right, okay."
Yeah.
And that was that. And I thought, "Oh, that was been absolutely pied here." So,
did he end up at Southend by any chance?
Well, that's the story. Basically, he then
he's gone in the back of his mind. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, literally. 4 or 5 days later, I see him get appointed Southend manager. Then the next day, my phone went. It was him, and he said, "Well, that's the reason I didn't want you."
Oh, fair play to him.
Yeah, so he took me to Southend, and so I think. He said he'd seen me play a few times and always liked me. And my friend who played at Yeovil mentioned him to me. I think he wanted to get me down there just to touch base with me a bit, knowing that he was going to go to Southend. And then he took the job there and took me in. And the rest was history for me,
Worked out well, yeah. Southend's a massive club, isn't it? I know they've gone a bit tits up this year and stuff.
Yeah, it's a catastrophe what's happened there.
The gaffer was when I was at Weymouth. The gaffer there was the manager, Mark Mosley. Really good. I had a lot of time for him.
Yeah, I know Mark.
And don't know what happened, but it's obviously gone a bit south. But like fan base,
I think. It's. I think when the club doesn't get in investment and
there's a lot of political stuff going on down there. I don't know.
I think there's been a few bad decisions from the upstairs, and which is there's a lot of people that need to hold their hands up there, because it's a really real shame, because I was part of a group that worked so hard to take that club from not really much to the Championship, and to beating teams like Manchester United and Chelsea's, and getting into the quarterfinals of Carling Cups and playing Tottenham Hotspurs, and and even back-to-back promotions, Johnson Paint Trophy finals. Who
was in that group? Was it Eastwood? Was Barrett there?
Adam Barrett was there. Yeah, we had Spencer Pryor. We had Simon Francis, Kevin Mayer.
Yeah.
So,
was it just a tight knit group that were just
it just clicked. I think what it was it was just a group of players that just probably peaked nearly all the same time.
Yeah.
And we had a good team spirit. We knew exactly what we needed to win games, and we had a lot of talent as well. It was, it's one of those, it's only when you look back on it you realise you're probably playing in the best side that they've ever had. So
because you got back-to-back promotions, didn't you? League Two, League One to Champ. I watched you as a champ when I was a kid at St Mary's. I think you've been relegated, but your fans were ledge, and just
Well, I went in, and it was quite an aging side, and then a few players came in, Freddie, Mark Gower, Alan McCormack, Nick Bailey's. We had Michael Kitely. We had a few young players that would freshened it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we got promoted from League Two via the playoffs.
And that was at Cardiff, was it, or Millennium?
Yeah, that was at Millennium. Yeah,
good.
And then from
decent.
Yeah. It's a shame. I think it's the only time that it was a period where I was getting into playoff finals and Football League trophy finals, and that was the time Wembley was being redeveloped. So I was a bit gutted about it, but it was as soon as Wembley was back, it never seemed to get in.
It's always the way, isn't it?
So hopefully one day I won't get the opportunity to go there in a playoff final or something like that. But we obviously then we went into League One. And then on our first season in League One, we won the league.
It's not often you see that, is it?
No, we literally went up, back to back straight through, and then
was that the year you beat United? League, was you champion in League One when you beat United?
That was championship. Was when we beat Man United. Yeah, we were bottom of the championship at the time.
You beat Man United. Because didn't they play their full strength team that day? Or near enough?
I think the only ones that didn't play was. It was Van der Sar.
Yeah, Kujat
played. Thomas played. Yeah. I had Thomas at Birmingham.
Did you?
Thomas. Yeah. So Thomas played in goal, and Giggs. I think Giggs and Scholes. But other than that, it was the same side.
Were you shitting your pants? So were you all right before the game? You enjoyed it?
I absolutely couldn't wait. It was couldn't wait to get started. It was something that. As a player, you really wanted to test yourself against the best.
And you had a worldie, didn't you?
Yeah, I was feeling well. I was in a good period of my career at the time. It was not just the game. At that time, I felt everything was just clicking for me. I was I'd won the PFA Player of the Year the previous season. I'd won the League One Goalkeeper of the Season.
Yeah.
I was winning quite a lot of individual awards as a goalkeeper, so I was in a really good place. So the championship was a level at that time I felt I should be performing at, and I wanted to even kick on and try and get into the Premier League. So playing Man United, the best team in the country at the time, was my little sales pitch, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Being on TV and that, and obviously then when we knew what the lineup was. I knew it was going to be a busy night, and I knew it was, this was something that could put you on the map. So no atmosphere at all. It was something that I couldn't wait to get started. Even at the end of the game, we were 1-0 up, and they were, were camped in our our defensive third. And
that's when my arsehole would be going a little bit. I'll be going, I hope they don't get an in-swinging corner.
I was so relaxed, and I felt so relaxed at the time, and I felt like even if they score, I didn't mind because I had another 30 minutes against them. So I was quite happy with that. But luckily enough for me and the team and the supporters, we won the game 1-0, and that was it was an amazing night to have beaten them. I think they then went and beat.
I remember it. And then who was after that? Was it Chelsea or Tottenham? You only just lost, didn't you? You only just lost. Was it 1-0?
Yeah. We went from there into the quarterfinals against Tottenham at White Hart Lane. It was at the time, and again we were, we got dominated. In possession. They dominated the ball for the whole game, so we were very just trying to be as defensive as we could and maybe try and catch them on a counter attack or a set play. But again, full of big stars, Berbatov, Defoe, all sorts of internationals playing for him. But again, on the night, it was another good night for me. It was a lot of shots, a lot of balls coming in my box, which I was confident in dealing with. And it took it to extra time, and then we literally, I think we went into the second half of extra time, and we got done down our right hand side, and a ball cut across the box, and Defoe was there to tap it in. So I was gutted because I was hoping for penalties. So
that would have been all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, we couldn't get it there. But after the game, I got called into the lounge at White Hart Lane.
Who was the manager of Spurs at the time? Was it Redknapp, or was that sort of?
No. I think it was Martin Yole.
Yeah, okay, yeah. He ended up at Fulham, didn't he, at some point?
That's him, yeah. And I ended up going up into one of the lounges. One of the ushers at White Hart Lane asked me to go up into the lounge. They presented me with a bottle of champagne, and they said you were the first away player that we all unanimously voted on being man of the match over our own.
Oh wow!
So that
takes something, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it was that was great. It was like
even when like the home team's shit, at least the home player gets an MOM. So like
Well, that's it. Yeah, normally they would they vote for normally their own player. They said it's the first time they all unanimously just went. It was the opposition goalkeeper. So they asked me to come up and put me on the stage, and I said a few words and that, and thanked them and that. So,
did you not convince Martin Yole for a little move in the summer or something?
I was trying my best there. I was trying with every team I was playing against at the time. But again, it was the opportunity, to perform against these.
Can't buy that, can you? Like memories and stuff, like.
Yeah, and it was to show that you were capable of dealing with, not only who the opposition is, but with the atmosphere, the crowds, the television, the exposure. It was something that I really relished, really something I really wanted. So it was
nice, cool.
It was something that I really look back with a lot of fondness.
Good. I'm worried this is going to time out because I think I've only got 45. What time do we start? Does it say how long it's been doing? So what I don't want to do is it cuts me off and then does a recording. Because I think we started at about 10:02.
Yeah, so you'd have 25 to 9.
Yeah.
What's it now?
1:30.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah. So you might have to send another meeting and record again.
Yeah. Should I do that now? Because I haven't got much more. I've got a bit more, but nothing. If I do, what do I do? Pause. If I pause and stop, and then I want to close it, how do I end the meeting? If I end the meeting, then it will download the recording.
I think what it will do anyway is I think it would probably just cut off anyway. So once it cuts off, you can then obviously send another.
Do you think it will download? I'm just worried it won't download the recording. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Let me end this, and I'll re-invite you, and then
okay.
I won't take up too much of your more time, mate.
No problem.
Let me end this. End meeting for all. Cool, and I'll re-invite you.